Okay, I'm not sure how many people I will catch on here. I didn't send out my newsletter, but I am going to do a quick stream. It has been a hot minute since I've been online. And I thought I would do some abstract flowers. So we are going to use the Photoshop Bristle brush and do something a little abstract here. Okay. Let me, 1 second. Oh. See if I get any of my friends from my newsletter on. So actually I did this using one Photoshop brush, and I am just going to make a new document really quick. Let us just duplicate these layers. Make a new document. And window, let's see our view. Arrange to up vertical. Okay, let's pop this over here. So I kind of like mapped out this idea. So I have been actually taking time off, doing taxes, super fun, doing file organization, so necessary. Okay. And yeah, we don't have very many people, but we're gonna go and knock this out really quick because I have a hamburger on the way, so that's exciting. And what I like to do with these GlitchCore brushes, so I released these, gosh, it has been a little bit. It's been probably a month now. And I've had really fun using these to make some flowers and stuff. And what I like about that is they're using the Photoshop Bristle brush engine, and so it's like kind of very tech looking, but I like kind of counterbalancing that with like organic shapes of flowers and stuff. And I've actually done a bunch, some already. Hang on 1 second. Let me just show you this. Okay. We are moving here. Okay. So let me hide my chat. See if my website can load. Hopefully it's not too slow. I'm on some rural internet. Okay. Where is my latest? Okay. So I played a lot with flowers with these brushes. And what's cool is that, and I like to play with the abstract and everything, but what's fun with these is, yeah, they're super crazy. God, I already did some on a stream before, but, I don't know if I put some on here. I did that on a stream. Here's some. I think I did these before. And I just like playing, I like playing with a few shapes. And yeah, so it's quite cool. Okay, so let's just get back to the program here. But oh, what I wanted to say is that for a limited time, all of my Behance subscribers can get these brushes, and it's like $10 to subscribe to my Behance. So anyway, okay, let us get moving here. So what I did, this is using my color blending pattern stamp technique. So I'm going to grab my pattern stamp tool, and then I created these color blends. And if you're not familiar with this technique of color blending Photoshop brushes, I put the link down below in the description so you can check out the blog post where I go over all of this. But so what I started with this one was like, I started by making the center of this flower. And I'm just going to grab one of my pinkish sort of color blends. So what I've got my pattern stamp tool. I've selected one of my color blends here. And now I'm just going to start with that center sort of tuftiness of that flower. And that's what I based my whole illustration over. And what's cool is that you don't need any special drawing ability to do like any of my, what do you call it, tutorials. So let us zoom in here. So I've got like a workspace of about, I think it's 1500 or 1700 by 1700, so not super huge, but so we're gonna grab our pattern stamp tool, and then I used brush, this is my GlitchCore brush number 30. So I've got this nice dark background, so I'm gonna make a new layer, and here we're just gonna see this brush in action. And what's cool is all of the colors that are inside of your pattern are going to come out of this in really cool ways. And these brushes are, they're called GlitchCore. They're meant to be kind of leaning into that that trend. This is like, I saw that as a trend right now, and it was funny because I was building these brushes as like already, and then I saw this as like a trend, and I love just kind of playing with this idea. So what's really cool with these brushes is that you know, it's made up of lots of little lines, so it's kind of very technical, but you can also, you know, like I said, I like playing with the organic and the technical sort of nature of this. So what I started off with was, let me just find my group of this flower here. So I'm going to peel that back, and I'm going to zoom in. So I just started with a few brush strokes, and so I just, as you know, played around with different directions. And on these brushes that I created with the GlitchCore, I actually turned off the direction on some of them, and that is what lets you have that sort of glitch sort of, it kind of makes the brushes what they are. So anyway, I'm just going to play with a few different strokes, a few different directions, and kind of build up this sort of background base. And then, you know, I'm kind of thinking about it as layers, but of course, what I love is I always love to kind of give, well, I love abstract because you don't have to have any special drawing ability, but I love just giving the idea of the flower. And what's cool about this is this brush strokes kind of like build up this volume by themselves, so that's quite cool. So let's see here, I'm gonna pop over on this side, and then so then I made a little bit of, okay, so then I added some yellowish on the sides, so I'm gonna do the same thing over here, and I'm just gonna grab like one of my yellow orange blends, and I like just, you know, like just having some of that contrast, multicolored. These are not flowers that like exist in the universe, so it's just, you know, it's abstract, it's fun. And what's cool about these brushes is, you know, you can do them one way, you can do them another way, and they're always creating different effects. So I like to like not always have my brush strokes going the same direction, but like going, you know, around. So we can just have a little fun with that. And if you don't like how something is, you know, or the color that kind of how it comes out, then you can just redo it. But let's just play with that. So that's pretty similar. So there we've got a good like base shape of the center of the flower. And then I think I added like one little layer here. Okay. So yeah, so what I added here was a little blue in the center, and then I added one last stroke in the front sort of the flower to just kind of close that off. So I'm gonna make a new layer, and I'm just gonna grab some other sort of color, and I think I'll grab a blue. Like I said, this is not a flower that exists in nature. And I think I'm gonna like hit my left brackets and take that same brush and the size down a little bit. And so we'll just put a little blue here in and just kind of, you know, play around. You can see how each way that, you know, if I go from left to right, up, down, top to bottom, it's always going to look different. And I can also play with the pressure, and it will turn out differently. So there we go. So we got a little like kind of center of the flower, and then I'll just make one last layer and kind of grab that pink, and let's see here. Okay, and then we'll just kind of make a little sort of petal in the front of the flower. So, okay, I don't know if that's exactly the pink that I used before. Okay, ooh, that's quite dark. So there we go. But what's cool is it kind of gives you the impression of a flower, but you know, like it's like I said, it's not a flower that exists in nature, but it's kind of fun. So, and if you zoom in, you can see all of these beautiful lines that made up these strokes. So these are really unique brushes. I've done a few different tutorials and live streams already with them, and I just think they have so many possibilities. And I like playing with the brushes loose on their own like this, or kind of drawing some shapes and painting within the shapes. So let me just check my thing really quick. My Behance. Okay. And I might be, okay, there we go. All right, so there we've got the center of the flower. We're happy with this, close enough. And now let's just zoom out here. So that's how I started over here. And now what I do is I am gonna kind of draw these shapes that you see here. And so for this, okay, this whole thing is actually one single brush stroke if you don't count like my blob brush that I'm going to use to map out this leaf shape. So I'm going to go here to my brush tool, and I'm going to just grab like, I guess maybe a slightly darker green because I want it to show up. Okay. And now I'm just going to get any sort of brush that you want. Okay, that's close enough. And now I'm going to zoom in here just a bit and make sure I can see most of my artboard. And now below this, I'm going to make a new layer, and I'm just going to kind of like map out a shape of a leaf. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but we're just going to go like that. And one thing that I wish, oh my gosh, I wish that Photoshop would figure out finally this sort of fill-in thing, unless I'm missing something. But you have to click twice and then it makes like the edges, you know, rough. I wish that they would fix that. So I'm going to put a leaf behind it. And then I think I'm just going to like draw the stem down here. So we're just going to go like that. And we're not getting too deep with it. We're just gonna make a very basic shape. So like I said, anybody can do this. And then now I'm gonna go make a new layer above that little flower. And then I am going to make another shape, and I might take my smoothing ups because I don't have that steady of a hand. So let's see here, but I wanted to cut across that flower a little bit to just give it a little bit of like that depth. So let's just go like this, super easy peasy, and then let's fill it in. Okay, good enough. And I think that I drew it in darker, but I don't want it to be that dark. So what I'm going to do is I'll make a new fill layer, new fill layer, solid color, click OK, pick this green here. Or you know what, I'll just leave it like that for right now. We'll change the color in just a little bit later. So now we've got the base of it. As you can see, this is like the brush did all the work. We really did not work that hard at all for this. And so now I'm going to use my clipping mask, or use even just like my selection feature. So I can just click on, let's start with this leaf back here. So I've got that leaf for reference and it's handy, but what I can do is just hit Command and click on that. So I'm going to use that for a selection, make a new layer, and then I'm going to just disappear that layer. And now we're going to use the same brush number 30, but we are going to use this green color palette that I created, and it's got, you know, like a mix of greens. And let me just see what I did over here, because I'm wondering if I did it at full, no, I did these, I didn't even change the opacity. Okay, so now we're just going to take that pattern stamp tool, we're going to grab a green, and then we're just playing with, you know, like some brush strokes here, and, you know, play with how you do the direction of the stroke and your sort of effects. But I just kind of like, just sort of, you know, just did whatever, honestly. I didn't really think about it too much, but I'm using my pressure on my pen. So if you do it hard, you're going to get a very, you know, like dark line. But if you know, you do a little bit of a light pressure, it's going to be lighter. So I'm just going to deselect that because I didn't show the tip of that, that shape. And you know what? Let's just put this leaf on here. Let's put this leaf back. What did I do? Okay, no, the background is actually darker than the leaf. So what I'm going to do is just, I will option and pull this fill layer to duplicate it, create a clipping mask, and then there we go. So, okay, I made these leaves just a little bit lighter than the background. So that's pretty close. We're not going to like get too worried about it. But what I like is, let me just reselect that, and maybe I want to like, play a little bit up here so that we can kind of define that edge of that leaf, so you can kind of feel that. Okay, so that's good. And hopefully hopefully this stream is not too delayed or whatever, because I'm on some rural internet right now, visiting some family. So anyway, what can you do? And then let's see, what do we got here? So now we're going to do like the same thing on this shape for the leaf. So we are going to take my little leafy shape. Let's make a new layer. And it doesn't matter that it's a clipping mask, it's okay. And actually, let's see here. Let's double click that fill layer. There we go. So now it's like a little bit lighter than the background. And then we've got a clipping layer above that. So now we're going to draw on that layer and just play with this brush here. But as you can see, let's see here. Maybe I make it a bit bigger. But literally all I used was this brush. There we go. That's quite cool. And you just we'll just play with it like that. I'm playing also with the pressure of it. And so now we've got some leaf shapes, and already it's becoming, you know, it's forming and it's taking shape. And as you can see, all of this was like, essentially, if you don't count the blob brush, all of this was like one brush. So that's the beauty of these Photoshop brushes and this color blending technique. And so if you're not familiar with it, definitely check it out. The link is down below. So now we've got the main motif. And what's cool is, you know, this was really easy, but you can do all kinds of things with this. You know, you can use this as a base of like a card, an invitation design, whatever, but you can also use this in different, you know, like different styles of illustration, branding, what have you. And it's really interesting, like I said, that mix of the organic with the digital, because these Bristle brushes are really like made up of lines. So it's a really fun play. So let's see here. So now I'm just going to go in the background. And what I did was using this very same bristle brush. Let's make this all window, arrange, consolidate all the tabs. So here's the one that I have. And so I just wanted to have some kind of like a little bit of a greenery sort of background and just, you know, play with that. Let's find the right file. So below all of those, I'm going to make a new layer, and we don't even have to change the brush. And so all we're doing is, let me see how I did this over here. Wrong one. Okay. So I just made some very light sort of marks. Oops. And played with that. And you can kind of play with the direction, you know, do them different you know, just play around, light, a little harder, change direction, and you can kind of get this sort of idea. Okay, so that's pretty good. I kind of like how I did it on the original one. It's so funny whenever I'm doing them, like some demonstrations. I always feel like this is the one that you ordered, and then this is like what you get on Wish. But whenever you're working and stuff, you know, it's sometimes it doesn't turn out as good. But here I kind of like that, like maybe I'll do that, trying to keep that sort of a movement and not just completely fill the background. So I like, let's see, maybe I'll take my size down a little bit, but just, you know, kind of play with it, whatever. But it's giving that texture. This could be really useful in like some surface pattern design, what have you, some, you know, all kinds of stuff. But I like the vibe, I like the look of it. And then the last thing that I did was just add some little sort of flower shapes to kind of go along with it. And what's cool about this is it is literally nothing more than a single brush stroke. Okay, so we are gonna just grab, I'm taking the same brush, not changing the brush, it's still using the pattern stamp tool, and then we're just gonna grab like a little color blend here. So I'll just grab maybe an orange one, and these are all included for my Behance subscribers. So this I'm definitely gonna hit my left bracket, take that brush size down. I want this a lot smaller. Undo. Okay, let's just make a new layer, and then I just added a little dots, okay, like that, with that color palette. And then maybe I'm just gonna grab a pink to kind of go along with the top, the first one. Let's see how I did here. It always looks better when I did it by my before my thing, but I'm just gonna play with that kind of, so we get the idea. So good enough. And so there's the original, which I still like better. It's a little bit more subtle, but you get the idea. And then this was literally one Photoshop brush, so you kind of can't beat that, you know? So it's great. And like I said, if you are a Behance subscriber, you can get all 95 of these brushes. So that's kind of crazy. And oh wait, I'm just gonna refresh my page here. Oh my gosh, I didn't send out any email to my newsletter list. So normally I have some of my newsletter friends popping in and saying hey, but yeah, just getting back into the streaming flow. It's been a while, and taking all that time to do taxes and work on my workflow was not the most fun, but you really need to do that. Like, I mean, no matter what kind of design or, you know, sort of niche you're in within design and illustration and stuff, like, you've got to take time to step back and work on your workflows. Like for me, I worked on like reorganizing my files. I'm working out workflow processes so that I can, when I put out content, you know, I've got like a checklist so that I can do things faster. And, you know, taking that time out of your day to or taking that time out of even your year to kind of set yourself up for success is not exactly the most fun. We just want to be creating, but it can just save you like so much time throughout the year. So anyway, that's what I've been doing. But what I really want to be doing is painting some flowers. So, okay, I think I have some food coming, but I think I have time for one more. So let me just save this, and let's see here. We'll put this as demo 1. And I think I'm going to do one more before my food comes. Let's see here. This one was kind of cool. So this one, let me see which brushes that I used. This brush was a little bit more wild and hard to control, but I like how it turned out, and it kind of reminds me, like, I thought it was really good for like tulips and stuff. But I think that what I am going to do with this one is, because I really like how that hard edge looks there. When I redo this one, I'm going to make this with the hard edge. So I'm going to draw that that shape and closing shape. So let's just do this one really quick. So I'm just going to make, let's see, file new. Let's just make a new layer or a new document. I made mine 1700 by 1700. It's just kind of a size that I like to work in. And first thing off is we're going to make these sort of tulip bulbs. And for me, it was kind of inspired by a tulip. Obviously, it's not like really like a tulip, but you know, whatever. So let me find my original groups here. And I'm going to see what brush that I used. So, okay, it looks, oh, okay, I used brush 63 mainly, and then brush 86 on the center. So let us make a new layer. And I am just going to, let's see here, I'm going to put these up side by side. 2 up vertical, so I can kind of see my reference here. It helps me stay on task. So, okay. Let's see if I, I think I'll just draw my shape in. I was going to freehand it with the selection tool, but it's not as smooth as just drawing in the shape. So let's just draw a super basic shape here and let us paint it in close enough, whatever. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask if any of you guys are tuning in. But it's nice to know, like, probably it's not all the people that usually follow me, so some new people might see it. Okay, so we're using the same technique. Let's go pattern stamp tool. This one is kind of fun. This one has pink and red and yellow, so that's fun. And that's the beauty of this technique, is that much better. It's totally different from, like, oh, I got food coming in. Okay, I'm gonna hurry through this. But what's cool is you can put colors in here and they come out of your brush, but they don't have to be related. So you don't have to try to figure it out with the color jitter. You can put exactly what colors you want coming out. So I'm just gonna grab that, and then let's grab brush 63. And I don't know if you can hear the dog. It's so funny. Okay, so I'm just gonna like play with this, and as you can see, every time that you do this brush stroke, it's gonna go like let me deselect that. Let me just show you this brush stroke. So it's gonna look different, and I have whichever way you do it, and I have the control the direction sort of off on this on purpose. So if I get that stroke that's like doing a swoop like that, we got these pretty like sort of feathery sort of shapes here coming off the top. So it's really cool. It's really fun, you know. And that's just the beauty of these brushes. They're meant to be like glitchy. So that's sort of the fun of it. And let's see here. So I'm going to use my shape that I had as a selection. So I'm gonna click on that layer, hitting Command or Control, I think, on a PC. And then let's just kind of create this sort of bulb shape. So let's, and I'm using that sort of, that container. Let's, so we'll just put some strokes in here, but, oh, there we go. That's kind of cool. So that's maybe a little more filled in than I wanted, but whatever. Okay, so I'll make a new layer. Now let's get a slightly darker one, and then maybe I'll, no, let's go lighter. We'll grab like this. And what I like is just changing colors, is like, I'm not gonna worry about it being perfect, but I think, make a new layer. Yeah, so you just kind of keep layering it. That's kind of giving you that sort of tulipy shape. Is a little bit maybe better on the first ones that I did. Let me peel back the layers here. Oi, oi, oi. Oh, I had resized these, so let me turn this one off. Let's pull this group up to the top, hang tight real quick. Okay, so this was my original one. Let's peel back the layers and see how things went. So I did this freehand, but as I mentioned, I wanted in this version to have that clean line like we had here. So that's why I used that selection to kind of contain my brush stroke. So here I had just had those brush 63 and kind of let them go wild. And it's kind of a process of trial and error to get the strokes just exactly how you want. But that's, you know, that's the beauty and how these brushes are. So, and then what did I do? So then let's put that, build that back up. So yeah, I just kind of piled on these little layers, changed the colors a little bit till it, you know, I had something that I was kind of happy with. And so let's do the same over here. So maybe I'll grab now like more of a yellow, like here, just kind of throw in a little thing. I like that, you know, it's not exactly how I did it on the other one, but I like it. So yeah, just you know, playing around with it. And then what I'd like is to have kind of just a little bit, let's make one more layer, and I'd like to have just a feeling of like those light strokes kind of coming up that way, but it's not exactly how I had it before. Let me put this below, kind of feathering up on the top there just a little bit more. Okay, that's close enough. So now what I did was I added just this little bit of touch of a brush stroke here to feel like there's a little bit of a center of that. So now I'm just going to make a new layer on top of that. And for this one, I want to say, let's see here, it was brush 86. So I'm going to grab like a purple out of my color palettes here that I had created. And let me grab brush 86 really quick. Now, if you're a bit new to this and you want to know how I created these color blends or all about this technique, the link is down below. So definitely check that out. Okay, so now we've got pattern stamp tool. I've got a purple color and I've got brush 86. And let me just deselect for a second because I just kind of want to show you this brush. So as you can see, it's kind of got this really like techno sort of vibe. Very fun. And not really what you'd think about making like a soft flower, but that's the fun of it. So I'm just going to hit my left bracket and make that a little bit smaller. And I don't need to worry so much about the, oh gosh, the shape, the selection, because this is going to be a little free form in the center here. So, and again, maybe I did the dimensionality just a little bit better over here, but whatever, you get the idea. So this is brush 86 of this collection, and I'm just going to use like a light, just a very light, trying to do like a light pressure as possible to kind of give you that's better, to feeling of like a little bit of a center of that flower. And then I just want to put a touch of like yellow or a lighter color on top of that just to give it a little bit more of a feel. So maybe it's not as good as my other one, but we're just going to go with it. So let me just zoom out here really quick and let's just make one more flower center like that. So I am going to make one new layer. I'm just going to grab standard smoothie sort of brush tool and we're just going to do like we did here. So let's just put a really, we should do more of a teardroppy shape. So it looks more like what do you call it? A tulipy, because that was kind of the inspiration of this sort of thing. Okay. And let's just paint bucket it in close enough. Did I get all of that? Okay. So we're going to put it kind of close here like our other one. Maybe I'll just expand it a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to command click on that layer, select it. And now we're going to just do a little flower like we see here. This one is a little bit more yellowy. And so let's just grab like one of my yellow orange color blends, and oh, I grabbed the wrong brush. So, but you can spice it up. Honestly, what did I use? Brush 63. You know, just play with, you know, you can really play with, you know, having these shapes and then drawing the brush strokes inside of them. So it's really fun. So now I'm just going to grab like a pinky sort of color. And yeah, there I like having that sort of effect. It looks a little bit like that, a sort of, like the petals of a tulip a little bit more. So that's a bit fun. So just kind of playing with that idea. And let's maybe just grab a little bit darker color. And, you know, just playing with the layering up those strokes. And we're kind of getting that sort of vibe of a tulip. So it's good enough. Okay, so that's good. And now we're just going to do the same thing. Let's make a new layer. And now I want to put that little center inside of that tulip shape. So I'm going to deselect, and I'm going to grab that brush 80 something, 7, let's see here, 86. Okay, so I grabbed brush 86, and let's just, that's quite nice. Let's grab a purple again, since I used that purple for the center. Okay, and just do a little bit of a, let's grab something a little bit different. There we go. Okay, so we've got just a little splash. We just did a little like light brush stroke. Maybe I'll grab another like yellow kind of color palette and do something like that. I think the ones that I did before were a little bit better, but you know, you can just play around with it, but it's supposed to be abstract, so that's the fun of it. And now what I might do is put a little something back in the back of that flower. So I go back to my original shape selection here that I created, the layer 9, and I'm going to command to select that layer. Now I have my selection, and I've got a new layer behind everything. And now, like, let me just, I'll grab a different color. We're going to go back to that brush 63. And yeah, maybe put something back there. I don't know if I love that. Anyway, I think we'll just leave it how it is. Close enough right now. So there we've got the centers. Let's see here. Okay, hello to Amadou. Nice to see you. Okay, so now it's these. Now it's going to be nice because now I'll make this. This is just going to take me a second. This sort of like the bottom shapes or whatever. And it's really fun. I liked how this turned out. But now it's going to, I think, look a little bit more cohesive because up here we had this sort of loose shape. But we had the enclosed sort of stems and leaves. So now it's going to be a little bit more cohesive. So let's just recreate what we had here. And I am just going to go below these these little flower sort of shapes that I created. And I'm going to make a new layer. And I'm going to select over here this green. It's nice and bright for spring. And so let's just draw a little stem. And what's cool is that this, you do not have to have like any special drawing ability. So I'll just go like that. And just kind of mimic what I did before. So just playing around with just a really basic shape. So we've got that. And let's draw this little bad boy over here. And I'm going to just draw them all in one layer. Let's keep it easy. Let's see here. So we've got a stem there. And like I said, this was like inspired by a tulip. But really this is like no plant we see in nature. So, but that's what I love about abstract. And also it's less pressure to like get it right. So I like it. I like things that are easy, fun, and fast. And also you know, like if I wanted it to look realistic, you could take a picture, but it's more fun finding ways to abstract things and harnessing the power of the Photoshop brushes to do all your dirty work and all the hard stuff. Okay, so now we have gotten some really nice, some just easy peasy shapes. And let me see what brush strokes that I used here. Okay, so this was brush 35. So now I'm just gonna make a new layer above that, create a clipping mask, and then I'm gonna hit my pattern stamp tool, same thing. We are gonna just grab brush 35 of this collection, and now I'm gonna grab that like a green color palette. I think it was right here. Let's see, close enough. So this is fun. So I'm just gonna do like I did here, and just, and this is the crazy wild GlitchCore brushes. I mean, they're meant to be like wild and insane. So I'm just gonna, you know, kind of play color over that, like so. You know, you can have some going down on the stem a little bit, but that's all right, whatever. So just creating a little fun here. Let's see here. Just drawing over it, and yeah, nothing has to be perfect. And we're creating some cool motif, you know, like you could turn this into a pattern design or, you know, something like that. And so then the last thing I did on this one, let me just make a new layer in between those two layers. And I used brush stroke 37. Okay, I turned that off. So this one is nice. Let's see here. Let's go change it, brush 37. Okay. Hey Karen, oh my gosh, glad to see you. I just popped on. I haven't been live streaming for like ages, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna pop on and get back in the swing of things. And so yeah, I didn't send out anything to the newsletter, but I'm happy to see you here. Okay, so yeah, so we just took this brush 37. I didn't change the color palette, and I'm just gonna add some little touches here, and it's just adding a little bit of fun, and I like it. It's a very kind of a grainy sort of brush. And yeah, so that's pretty it. So we did sort of a tulip inspired design, motif, what have you. And we use, let's see here, we use 1, 2, 3, 4 brushes if you don't count the just a blob brush or simple whatever one. And this is using the color palettes that are in the latest GlitchCore collection and the GlitchCore brushes. So I think I'm going to wrap it up there. That was a pretty good. We did two different designs, and then I will get back on tomorrow, and I'm going to blast my newsletter list and get back on and maybe do some more flower inspired artwork because it's spring. And I really like doing flower inspired designs with these GlitchCore brushes because it's you know, playing with that organic and that technical nature of the brushes and those lines and sort of very techno-y, but you can create some really fun things. So we made, let's see here, we made this one using a single GlitchCore brush, and then we made this one using like 4. But I think it's a really fun motif. I think that anybody can do it. And you can, for anybody that's watching, you can subscribe to my Behance for $10, and you can get every single one of my tutorial resources. They're the little, on the projects or the live stream, it's got a little paper clip, and there's literally like about 400 brushes. So it's awesome. And I'm definitely going to be pushing that more and more. So thanks for tuning in. I have a hamburger downstairs waiting for me, and then I'm going to be online tomorrow. I want to say like 11 or 11:30. And yeah, thanks for tuning in, and definitely check out the GlitchCore brushes, and check out the other projects on my Behance, because the all of my projects, you can do them no matter what your skill level, and you do not need to be skilled at drawing. So that's really fun. Thanks, Karen, and thanks for writing in. So I'm happy to see you here.